Live. You already know what it is. Welcome to the motherfucking channel. This is your host, Lord of Lips, here with another installment of the live stream, episode 31. You already know, like, comment, subscribe, share. I'm gonna fiddle with my stuff on some platforms here and get it all together so we can get this show on the road. Come on, come on, come on. Where are we at? Should be live streaming everywhere. Okay. You already know there. Let's go ahead and get into it. We got some playoff basketball. See if I can pull that out. We got some playoff basketball going on right now. Knicks and Detroit. And I mean, I kind of shitted on this series. I mean, I think it's going to this series is the Western Conference equivalent to the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. As far as I feel like it's going to be two physical, tough series. And in both of those series, there's high chances of ejections and high chances of fights and stuff. So it's going to be pretty similar in that sense. But I just think for star's sake, like, let me fix my mic. Sorry. I don't think that these series. Let's see. I don't think either of the. I mean, I don't think this series has really much star power. But besides that, I think this is going to be a closely contested game. Let me get back to my shit here. And I don't want to miss a thing. Right. Mm. Right. I feel like talk right. Better. Better. Yes, sir. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's old Jordy George. It's playoff basketball time. Let's see what we got. Yeah, Duncan. You know what we're gonna do on this? We're gonna talk about Kobe and Duncan. We're gonna have a conversation about Kobe and Duncan. You know, yeah, yeah, man. Feeding that fat fuck. Feeding that fat fuck. Just the same Kobe always saying was getting carried. Mm. All right, let's just be real. Let me touch you. Let's be real about something. I wanted to show that because it's the start of the playoffs, but also um, there's this like revisionist history going on lately with Bean. And it's a concerted effort. There's been a concerted effort to get Bean up out of the picture. We all know it's by Clutch Sports and all their paid media entities, dick suckers, famous dick suckers out there, like known dick suckers out there, like Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, um, even ESPN. He even got ESPN people. Brian Windhorst, who a few weeks ago, LeBron did kind of shit on Brian Windhorst for no reason, but there's been paid campaigns out there. Let's just say that there's been known paid campaigns out there by Clutch, and what they sought out to do is, in order for there to be a true discussion between this whole phony goat debate, that is so played out. It is so played out. Like this debate really ended in 2014, 2013, 2011 to some people when LeBron choked away his second finals appearance. But in order for them to sell tickets and crown this phony king, they have to obviously separate Bron from the fray. So that's what they do. They separate Bron from the fray, and they put him in a discussion amongst himself and Mike only. I even seen recently Nick Wright had a little list that he did a few years ago. I remember him doing it, and he did his top 12 players in NBA history, and he had LeBron at number one, then he had Kareem at number two, and Jordan at three. These are just phony tactics. Anyways, my whole point in this is that there's been a concentrated effort to get Bean out of the discussion. Now we're seeing a lot of people saying that the 2000s wasn't even Kobe's era, or that Duncan ran the 2000s. Duncan was better than Kobe, and that's just poppycock. Nobody believes that. Nobody here on this stream, nobody on God's green earth, unless you live in downtown San Antonio or in that Texas area, nobody thinks that Duncan is better than Kobe all time. You know what I'm saying? Now you may see like fake little ESPN lists written by phony reporters and insiders and stuff like that who have for decades tried to assassinate the legacy of Kobe Bryant. But anybody with a brain, all NBA players, Duncan was great. Don't get me wrong. Duncan is one of the 10 best players of all time. I got Duncan in my top 8. However, there's no list, and there's no time on this planet that I ever thought. I'm not going to say ever. But overall, Duncan is not greater than Kobe Bryant. It just, there's no logic behind it. Now let's kind of crunch the numbers here. A lot of people are going to allude to like some accolades and stuff. We got Bean, Kobe with 5 rings, Duncan with 5 rings. Now Duncan does have the edge in Finals MVPs and MVPs. Duncan is a back-to-back MVP winner, and he's won one more Finals MVPs. So that's where a lot of people would not give Duncan a nod. He also has 19 playoff appearances, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Duncan has ever missed a playoff appearance. But he stayed within. Now they both stayed on their teams for 2 decades essentially. But the Lakers, and you can credit Duncan with this. The Lakers wasn't always a model of consistency. The head coaching changes, organizational changes, all that stuff. Jeannie Buss taking over, her father dying. Rest in peace to Jerry Buss. All of these different things led to a lot of disorganization functions. You know what I'm saying? Dysfunctions, I should say. R.C. Bruford with the Spurs, who I think now is running the OKC Thunder, and you guys see how the Thunder have stolen, or not stolen, but they ran away with like 13 draft picks, like first round draft picks over the next couple years. And then they already got a great team. OKC is going to be here to stay. I think in the next, I could see in the next 5 years or so, 3 to 5 years, we're going to be having the Western Conference is going to be predominantly ran by the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. That matchup is going to be very prevalent. Wemby, the NBA is going to do everything in their power to get Wemby some help. And then we obviously see what OKC is doing up there. So I could see that matchup is going to be a matchup in the future. And then Luka might have something to say about that. I think I just got done watching the Nuggets game, and I think that, I don't know, this is just how I feel. The firing of Mike Malone was really suspicious to me. And when I watched Denver, they still play with a spark, right? They definitely play with a spark and stuff, but I don't know, just all their games seem like they're just struggling to squeak it out. And now, granted, today was a good matchup. You know, they're facing a team that can really give them some problems in this first round playoff series with the Los Angeles Clippers. However, I just feel like even in the regular season, it was just too much of a grind. Even when the Nuggets seemed to turn on their motor or flip the switch, it just seemed like it's just too hard. And I just feel like they're not wasting. I don't think they're wasting Jokic's prime. I just think that Jokic's prime is a very condensed period. I think Jokic is getting ready to go on to 30 years old, and he's not real athletic, so he could play for a decent amount of time, but I don't know how long he can dominate at this rate. And I just feel like their time to kind of we thought the Nuggets might go on a 2 to 3 year run where they go to the finals. They got eliminated last year by the Timberwolves, and pretty vehemently, if you guys remember, Anthony Edwards and them kind of whooped them boys' ass out in Denver. But this year they're going up against the Clippers, and I think that they might struggle a lot with that series. And if they don't struggle, I mean, it's going to be a physical, tough series regardless. But even outside of that, I think that it's going to be a long grind for them to get back to the finals or even win the finals anyway. So back to my whole entire point. The Spurs was a model of consistency. The Los Angeles Lakers was a little bit more up and down, a lot less stable. And they both ended with the same amount of rings. I think Kobe has one more appearance in the finals. And if you are using LeBron James's fans' logic, it doesn't matter if you win a finals or not. It doesn't even matter if you win a playoff game, apparently. LeBron James fans, they don't care if you win. It's not about winning for them. It's about participation trophies. It's about looking good. It's about media attention and spotlight and your numbers and all this individual stuff. That's what it's about. Now, I remember when these two guys that I'm specifically referring to play, Kobe and Duncan, it was strictly about sacrificing all of those things that I just talked about before. And it was about team success and how you go about leading your team into having and garnering team success. But that is totally missed on this generation for some odd reason. And my point is saying that is Kobe edged Duncan out in finals appearances. And then in a 10-year gap, if you want to talk about just the 2000s, Kobe and his Los Angeles Lakers went to the finals 7 times in that period. From 2000 to 2010, they went to the finals seven times in that period. Duncan, I think they won in 99, they won in 03, they won in 05, they won in 07. So they went 4 times. Kobe and Duncan he went 4 times and won all 4 times. Kobe and the Lakers went 7 times and he won 5 times in that 10-year span. Also, another thing that people just failed to mention when it comes to this situation between Duncan and Kobe is I am old enough to remember that Duncan was on the Olympic teams that won bronze. That 2004 Olympic team with LeBron James, Carmelo, Wade, all the young guys, and then they had Allen Iverson and Duncan. And if these guys are so good and they're so great, and Duncan's so much better than Kobe apparently, and owned the 2000s, I don't know why you can't drag that talented team and win gold. But apparently that just gets watched. Here's the thing with Duncan. I love Duncan. Like I said, one of the greatest players of all time. But he benefits from he has the Jokic and Giannis effect, to where they aren't media darlings, and and the KD effect. They veer away from the media so much that their lowlights are not talked about as much as some of these other guys. If I remember, Duncan lost a first round series as a number 1 seed to an 8th seed, the Memphis Grizzlies, and they got smoked. Their boots got smoked. Nobody talks about it. Yeah, Duncan was a model of consistency. He made the playoffs he made the playoffs 19 years. But that's kind of how I feel about LeBron James, and there's somebody else that's played that long. But you make the playoffs 19 years. LeBron James, I think, has made the playoffs 19 years, and you only got 4 rings to show for it. That tells me you've had a lot of failed seasons. And you think about people like Mike. Now, Mike don't got all the counting stats. He don't got 40,000 points and all these rebounds and assists, but he essentially did what he did in a 13-year span, essentially, and you win 6 rings. So that's almost a 50% rate there. And my point with Duncan is, yeah, he went to the playoffs every year, and that does count for something. That's a motto of consistency. But you go away with 5 titles. You could have won 6, obviously. They had the heartbreaking loss in Game 6 to the Miami Heat in 2013, the Ray Allen shot, for those of you guys out there that remember that. But my point is that there's little small stuff that happened, or it should be bigger. There's little things that's happened in Duncan's career that does not get discussed. Duncan has played with tremendous talent. Tony Parker is a great point guard. Manu Ginobili is a great 2 guard. He's played with Kawhi Leonard. He's played with Steven Jackson. He's played with David Raya. I forget. He's played with a former MVP and David Robinson. So Duncan has played with a multitude of talent. That San Antonio Spurs team was never weak. They're a great franchise, and one of the true dynasties of our era. So, like I said, you do want to tip your hat to him for that, but also, in the same token, he gets off scot-free in a lot of things there. I'm about to pull up. I know this is probably going to get copywritten, but let's see if I can pull this up here. All right, we got this up. I just wanted to check into the game. Like I said, I feel like this series is going to be a bit physical. It actually might turn out to be a really good 6 or 7 game series, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We got Cade Cunningham. And this Pistons team, hey, that Thompson guy right there is pretty good. But his brother out in Houston is a fucking dog, man. Them 2 boys, they're dogs. I always knew they were going to be pretty good, man. They got, they're the perfect size for their position, man, and they're really strong and quick. Great defenders. Cade Cunningham's going to give us one classic performance in Madison Square Garden. You can already book that. Isaiah Thomas and Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be wrestling around at some point in this series. The Detroit, they're trying to, they're having a little cultural revolution down in, up in Detroit, just in general, in music and fashion and culture and now basketball and in football as well. It's just a whole little cultural revolution up in Detroit. But this team is trying to, bully a lot of people and kind of get that moniker back of being like the Bad Boys, or even the early 2000s Pistons teams that was really physical and punch it down your throat and beat a lot of people up. Look at this. Karl-Anthony Towns is so weak. So goddamn weak. Such a fucking bum. Such a bum. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, tell me. I would love to hear anybody's predictions on these first round series on who they think is going to be coming out, who's going to be winning these series, and what amount of games and stuff like that. I'll tell you guys. I got. Let's go. I'll start with the Eastern Conference. You got the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Miami Heat, who got in, I think, last night. Uh, you got Cavs versus Miami. I think that Miami could pull off an upset. I really, really do. Even though, I mean, we know that the Heat don't got Jimmy Butler no more, but I don't trust the Cavaliers. I just don't trust the Cavaliers. I really don't. Um, I think they are a great example of fool's gold. We remember those Toronto teams, even those Hawks teams back in like the 2010s that won all those games. They were a number one seed, but like they never really moved anybody's needle. Let's just be honest. I feel that way about the Cavaliers. So I got the Cavaliers probably winning that in like 6 or 7 games, though. I will say that. Boston and Magic, I got Boston probably winning that in 5 games. Then you got this series here. I got the Knicks pulling this out in 7. And then you got the other series, which is the Bucks and Pacers. That's going to go. I got the Bucks in 7 games. I think Dame Lillard comes back and makes a difference in that series. And then in the Western Conference, which is where all the fun is happening, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder winning in 5 against the Grizzlies. And then I got the Houston Rockets and Golden State Warriors. I got that being a 6 or 7 game series. I'm not really sure, but that's going to be the best first round series that we're going to see. I mean, actually on the court, not just namesake. I think that's actually going to be the best first round series that we see. And then the Nuggets and Clippers. I got the Nuggets winning in 6. Then Kawhi Leonard. Let me just tell y'all something right now. Kawhi Leonard is going to get hurt. Kawhi Leonard's going to get hurt, and James Harden is going to choke. Like, those are just things that I'm just willing to say, because until they show me different, I'm not going to believe anything different. You know, I don't understand this whole. I mean, every time around. I mean, every year it's the same thing around this time of year. You know what I'm saying with Kawhi Leonard? You know, he gets healthy the last few months of the season. He goes on a little spurt. Everybody's all excited. And then in the first round or even the last week of the season, he like has a random mysterious knee injury. You know, I'm done with that. So I don't care if they go all the way to the NBA Finals. They're gonna have to show me. I don't believe it. I don't believe Kawhi Leonard's gonna make it through this series. I don't think he's gonna make it through the playoffs, I should say. I don't know. He may be able to play through this series, but I just don't think he's gonna be able to make it through the playoffs. And I do not trust James Harden as far as I can throw. There's only one other. I'm not gonna say just only one other player, but there's very few players I trust less than James Harden. James Harden's gonna get you your numbers, and like he did today, he started off 15 points in the first quarter, all these step back threes and shit. And I mean, he played decent, but he's just not somebody to me that I would trust in close playoff games at all. I mean, he's only shown us that he's not to be trusted. So you know, that kind of mix there is not a well dish. It's not a good dish. So. Like I said, I got Nuggets in 6. And then probably for namesake and rating sake and all that stuff, you know, the most box office first round series, you got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers, who play tonight. And I think that series is going to be pretty good. I think Anthony Edwards is going to actually ball out, but I just think the Lakers got too much firepower with Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James. I mean, Julius Randle is awful. Julius Randle is an awful basketball player. I'm sorry to tell y'all. He is one of the most idiotic basketball players. He's one of the most low IQ basketball players I've ever seen in my life. And he's always been like that, whether it's been with New Orleans, the Lakers, the Knicks, now the Timberwolves. He just plays low IQ, dumb basketball. He plays football basketball. He gets the ball, he faces up, and he like drives in between 4 or 5 defenders. Then he picks up his dribble. He's like spinning around on his pivot foot, trying to find who to throw. And it's the same thing. He doesn't do a lot of off-ball moves. If he's not doing that, he's just standing somewhere, spotting up, trying to shoot. I mean, he's just a really low IQ basketball player. You know, he sets really dumb bad picks. He gets in foul trouble. Not a good basketball player. He might get you a 30 point, 15 rebound game here and there. I mean, he don't even rebound good enough, in my opinion. but he might, can get you a 30-point game here and there. But he's just a really, 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 really low IQ basketball player. He's the James Harden of power forwards. Horrible. But yeah, those are. I got the Lakers probably winning that in 6. But it is going to be a pretty good series. I'm veering away from basketball real quick. What you guys want to talk about? We know it's Easter. It's Easter weekend. This time 2,000 years ago or whatever, Jesus was absolutely being betrayed. And I just here's the thing. As we continue to delve deeper and deeper into modern society and into this, world that we live in, you just really see that even these holidays that were supposed to be centered and principled on some of the religious aspects that they're named after, but people are totally dismissive to those aspects. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's going to church tomorrow. I really miss the days where, my generation did a lot of dumb shit on Saturday and Friday nights. But they went to church on Sunday mornings and they got made fun of. People used to say, oh, you guys are just churchgoers on, Sunday and no other days. But at least we gave God one day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Back then, it's just like 10 years ago. At least we gave him one day a week. Now these new bastards, oh my goodness, these new bastards, they're going to cut up the most on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? They're going to cut up the most on the Sabbath. They're going to cut up the most on the weekend. They don't give a damn about no Saturday. They don't give a damn about no church on Sunday. They don't give a damn about no communion. They don't give a damn about no palms. They don't give a damn about no Good Friday. They don't give a damn about none of that. People have totally rejected the church, which, that's a topic for another day. On why that is and how I really truly feel about that. But it's just sad to see that God is literally dead, when it comes to modern American society. It's just not breathed into this generation at all. I mean, it's Easter weekend and I ain't even seeing no celebration about it. You know what I'm saying? All people want to do is bow down to their pagan god, Moloch, and sacrifice their children and run around with Easter baskets and Easter eggs and all that shit. It's fun. I get it. It's cute. You got kids out there. I'm not shitting on anybody out there with kids and, all in the spirit of, oh, it's fun and stuff like that. But that's, that's where you guys are silly because that's where a lot of pagan worship is had. You think that, the people, you think that you think the Babylonians and the Israelites that Moses led out of Pharaoh's grasp and stuff like that, all of them didn't know that they were being misled. They didn't know that they weren't being ill intent evil. You know what I'm saying? They were just they were worshiping other gods, and so when you read about those stories of taking other gods besides thee, you guys got to realize that it doesn't just mean that these people were cognizantly doing these things. They were unaware that they were doing these things. They were following worships and practices of the sun god and even the ancient Egyptians that people just absolutely adore and worship and stuff like that, even though they inherited the ancient technology of Kemet and even before Kemet and stuff like that. These people were worshiping deities and pagan gods and stuff like that. And they, like, my point in saying that is that everybody didn't know that they were doing it. So here we are 2,000 years later and people are doing the same exact thing. I'm not saying I'm no better than anybody when it comes to this. I'm just trying to let you guys know that we do more foolishness in God's name than ever before. Here it is Easter. Here it is Jesus, rising on the third day and, all of this shit. And nobody's paying attention to that. Nobody gives a damn about that. Everybody's worried about the barbecue. Everybody's worried about the cookout. Everybody's worried about the Easter egg hunt and stuff like that. And that's what I'm saying. The practice of Easter and all of those things is a pagan tradition. It's a heathen tradition. It's worship, God worship. I mean, it's Moloch worship. It's false idol worship. And that's what you got. And in fact, speaking of that, I want to see if I can find something for you guys. We talked last stream a lot about the the blue origin mission, and I hinted towards you guys that we kind of talked about it, whether it was staged or fake and all that stuff like that. And I called it lesbian space sex and stuff like that because there's really some elements to this that allude to the fact that this was like a ritual. You know what I'm saying? And when Katy Perry got off the Shepherd, and she kind of, she did her kissing of the ground and all that kind of shit. But she also, talked about the divine feminine and all this, and it was the first all-female space exploration and all these kind of like different things. And this was, and I mentioned this, I'm like, man, this was in the cusp of Palm Sunday last week, and Easter being this weekend and stuff like that. And if you know anything about Easter and what it really represents in April and spring and all that, the fertilization and the egg and that kind of deity. And not only that, but that spaceship kind of being like an egg. Also, the Baphomet symbol on the blue origin. Let me try to find this. See if I can fucking find this. And I'm gonna probably end up just on a random video, and we gonna discuss it. Aha. Where we at? Share my screen.
Right. Of the darkness of this age, for we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. Ephesians 6:12.
This ain't the video I want, but I do. There is some seriousness about Baphomet and these space missions, even with NASA and the history of NASA and stuff like that. I told y'all, even the creator of this Blue Origin mission and the Shepherd and stuff like that, they were into occultic practices. And here's my thing. A lot of people will say, "Oh, dog, you're reaching, and you conspiracy theory, you guys be reaching and stuff like that." But when you go and you actually do reading and stuff like that on the origins of some of these things and where they stem from, or the creator and stuff like that, and you see that these people were into occultism and black magic and just these different things, this is when things that I'm showing you on the screen aren't coincidence. You know what I'm saying? The symbolism here between the Baphomet and the NS-31, that's not a coincidence that this man who created this was an occultic. He was in those rituals and stuff like that. And then the logo being something like that. That is not coincidental, and really want to see this video if I can find it. I don't care about this shit being faked. Like, that ain't my point. Ain't about it being fake. Let me stop sharing. My point right now ain't about it being fake. My point is, my whole real entire point about it is that I don't think God wants you crackers up in space. I'm just saying. I don't think he wants Elon up in his space. I don't think he wants Tesla, Rocket X. I don't think he wants no Blue Shepherd. I don't think he wants no Apollo. Every chance y'all get, the jury's still out on if niggas even went to the moon. You know what I'm saying? The jury's still out on if niggas really went to the moon. I just don't think my guy wants y'all really up in his space. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it comes down to. I'm gonna find this video. I'm gonna find this video. Okay, I think they got a little video of this here. Uh, and tell me exactly why Gail King is still upset. Um, she's still very upset at the classification. She's first off, she's calling herself an astronaut. That's just asinine. That's literally just so delusional. You're the furthest thing from an astronaut. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are you an astronaut? Why do you think you're an astronaut? Golly, Blue Origins. But it don't sound like I know I should have saved this fucking video. I can't find the video that I wanted to show. My point is that here it is, Easter weekend, and I don't think you bastards is going to church tomorrow. That's just me. I don't think y'all's going to church tomorrow. I don't think anybody gives a damn about he has risen. I think that ship has sailed a long time ago. And then y'all just take the traditions. And here's what people say. Here's what a lot of people say. Oh, I don't, when you talk about, some of these holidays and some of the pagan rituals of these holidays. Oh, I don't really believe in that. I don't really believe in Easter. I don't really celebrate Easter. But then you just continue to do the pagan traditions of Easter, or same with, Halloween and all these different things. You know what I'm saying? And you guys got to understand that idol worship and the worship of these false gods and these satanic cults and stuff like that stem from that. They have it set up to where it's so permeated upon the culture that you'll be doing these practices and stuff like that and not even understanding that you're literally worshiping a satanic cult. That's essentially what they're doing. And their job and in their belief system is that their hands are clean as long as they love symbolic language. They love speaking in symbolic language. And because once they put it in symbols and signs and stuff like that, it's not up to them whether you understand it or not. They've made it clear. So then it becomes on you as far as the result of you worshiping these things, these deities. So it's not their fault that the symbol of Easter is an egg. They're telling you their origin. They're telling you the meaning behind what the worship and the practices and these rituals are. They tell you. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fault that we can read up on it and get a better understanding on it, and we still won't care. It's not their fault. Their hands are clear. You clearly see in the shepherd and in NASA and stuff like that, the logo, and you look into the history of NASA and the shepherd, and you see that these things were started by people that were members in the occult. You know what I'm saying? It's not their fault that they put it in symbolic language and they put symbols and logos and stuff like that in their symbolic languages, and you don't understand. Their hands are clear. You know what I'm saying? And you will not be given the benefit of the doubt in the eyes of the Lord by saying you did not know. That's not that at least is not their belief. So I just urge everybody to be careful. And now, I'm not saying that none of us are guilty of this. We're all guilty of it. But you got to be cognizant. And also, on the flip side of that, understand that no, everything isn't a conspiracy. Everything isn't, because sometimes with that, we can be led astray by people that is looking to seek gain from leading people astray. So it's best that people do their own research into these things and do their own reading and kind of develop some of their own understanding into these things. So that way you have a better, clear grasp on some of these fringe ideas out there, because there are conspiracy theorists out there. There are people, and some of them are controlled conspiracy theorists. You know, that term conspiracy theorist and conspiracy, that was coined in like the 60s and stuff like that. That was a government coined term, and it was to get people up off of some of the truth, because back in that day, you know, everything was controlled by the media in such a fashion to where there was only one central source of where you was getting. We don't understand how blessed we are today to know that not only has the veil been lifted, but we have the World Wide Web that helps us hand in hand across the globe. Share information with each other. You look at like a site like TikTok, and the brilliance and beauty in TikTok is that it opened the market, not just, you know, social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and X and all those are really, really good social platforms. They really, really popped off. MySpace, all these other different ones. But TikTok blew the lid off because it really puts you hand in hand against across people across the globe. You know, the capacity in which people frequent TikTok, the amount of users TikTok has, the range of users that TikTok carries makes it what it is, which is the most powerful social force on the globe right now, because it puts you in clear communication with people across the seas and China and all these different things. These other platforms, you had the ability to do that, but the way the algorithm works and the way social media has taken off such a life of its own, it puts you step to step with people across the globe. The Chinese, the Indians, the Africans, Asians, Hispanic, all of these different nations and all these different cultures and all these different beliefs and traditions. And then the information out there on TikTok is just endless. You know, there's so many people out here that literally could not survive without TikTok. And I don't say that as a slight. I say that as a fact of matter, that a lot of people get a lot of their information, how to do stuff off of TikTok. And that's why TikTok is so powerful. My point in saying that is our parents and our grandparents didn't have that luxury growing up, and we got to be cognizant of that. If they were fed propaganda, then propaganda is what they ate. You know what I'm saying? If they were fed that, you know, it wasn't until people had seen footage of the remnants of the Vietnam War and some of the stuff that it done. And, you know, Marvin Gaye comes out with what's going on, and artists are speaking out, and entertainers are speaking out. And then you're seeing homelessness in the country and stuff like it. It wasn't until it was on America's front doorstep to where people started to really become more anti-war. But before then, because that was the first war that people actually got footage of a little bit later, of some of the reaps and the stench of war. But before that, you know, that stuff was archived and it was really, really rare to come across. And so with that, it was easier for our government to kind of convince us to fight in these wars. So our parents and our grandparents were subjected to a lot more propaganda. Now, as far as one rate propaganda, I should say, we are fed a lot of propaganda. Trust me. Our struggle this generation, our issue this generation is going to be when you are able to pull information from everything. Right now, I can look up something on the internet, and I can look up the sky is green, or the sky is actually, you know, the sky is actually the ground. And there will be information out there to support this theory. So if you're not careful in the matrix, if you're not careful, information can be used against you. Information is definitely a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? it could be used. Too much information sometimes is not good as well. And I know I say this on this platform all the time. I talk about the Malcolm X quote and all that stuff, but really, seriously, people that are easily led astray. That's why the good book calls us, a people needing a good shepherd. We're the sheep, and sheep. They need a good shepherd to lead them certain ways and guide them certain ways, because they'll blindly follow anything, and that's essentially the globe. That's essentially the whole entire world. Now, there are people out there that are a lot more cognizant, a lot more aware, a lot more skeptical, a lot more. They're a lot more. They need more information. They see behind those lenses and stuff like that. They see behind the curtain, and they can't just be led astray so easily. So there are those type of people out there. And we also talked about this on this stream. Then there's the 10% of people out there that do know the truth, and their goal and their objective is to lead people astray. And with this World Wide Web, with this internet and TikTok and stuff like that, we are subjected to propaganda. So I do want to make that clear as well. We're definitely subjected to propaganda. However, it's a little bit different from back during our parents and our grandparents' days, where they were given this is what we want you to believe it. That's how they work. That's how they came up. And there's obviously danger and control with that. But on the flip side, we're given the opportunity to believe whatever we want to believe. And it's out there. There's flat earthers out there. There's people who believe the world is round. There's people who believe in shallow earth theory. There's people who believe in the ice wall. There's people who believe in the reptilians. There's people that believe in governmental control. There's people that actually believe in the government. There's people that believe, all types of different things. You're free to believe whatever you want, and in a real way today. You know what I'm saying? You are always, at least in this country, you are always able to believe what you want. But I'm saying in today's society, there's so much information out there, and there's so many different entities pushing these informations out there. You're free to believe it, and you'll have a lot of information out there supporting your belief. So that's what makes it really dangerous in today's society. But we just have to be cognizant of that. Everybody should be cognizant of that, the information that they're actually taking in. I think that a part of everybody's diet should be concerning a little bit of not only what you eat, but obviously what you watch and what you listen to. You have to really, really be cognizant of what you watch and what you listen to. Now, there's a lot of stuff out there that is just simply entertaining, but the internet has opened up the floodgates for mindless scrolling. I call it social media brain rot, that I think a lot of you fuckers suffer from. It's social media brain rot. I suffer from social media brain rot myself, but I'm just saying I try to be a lot more specific. I set my own algorithms. I'm really particular about what I actually feed my mind. I'm like, I'm not watching that. The random videos that you're scrolling and you see people getting killed and clubs getting shot up and stuff like that. Now, the wandering mind will want to see that. You know what I'm saying? But feeding yourself that isn't always a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a whole bunch. And Black Mirror got episodes on this. I'm sure there's psychological analysis and stuff on this. We all know about desensitized and stuff like that, which we are in a generation that is heavily desensitized. I mean, we just don't give a fuck about nothing. We could watch a mother of four get murdered in the street, and people are in the comments saying, well, what the bitch did? Or, look at her kid's shoes. His shoes are untied. You know what I'm saying? I see stuff like that all the time, and I'm just like, man, where is the sense of, where is the human element, the human aspect of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really don't understand. I'll show y'all a video that really drove me insane. Let's see if I can find this fucking video. Give me a second. This is how we are. Here it is. You fuckers aren't real active today. I want this with no now. I mean, with, I want to find this video though. I do want to find this video. I'll show you exactly who we're like. This ain't the video. That ain't the video. I'm trying to find the video. I may not be able to find the video, but anyways, I watch these videos, you know, shit like this a lot, and this polar bear is just going to town on this walrus. And while he's doing it, first off, you know, polar bears are fucking crazy, and that whole scenery out there is a really, really crazy thing. You know, you got a white polar bear, you got the ice caps. Everything is just like snow white out there. And you'll have a polar bear like just bludgeoning an animal. But anyways, my point in that is I'm watching this video and I'm sitting there watching this polar bear eat this thing alive. And you know what happens? These birds come up and you know, birds are like the reporter. They're like the news. They're really annoying when you really like vultures and stuff like that. They'll go around and they get to escape at any rate that they want and stuff like that. It's rarely them under fire, right? But they're like the news reporters coming into the hood after a murder scene, you know, after, you know, all this crime and stuff like that. These birds can give a fuck less. This bird literally flying around just sitting there watching a polar bear like bludgeon this damn animal, you know, and the bird is just literally sitting there chirping and just watching what. And it just really reminds me of how we I gotta get up and shut this damn door. I'm doing some laundry. It reminds me of how we act and react when today in society when we're sitting there witnessing some of the most grotesque, ignorant shit of all time. You know, we're sitting there just watching as it happened. We don't jump in. We're just watching. We're just spectators, just the great spectators. Kind of like the movie Nope, which got slept on. Give me 1 second, guys, here. Where am I at? I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I was doing some laundry and that got a little bit rowdy there. Switching gears here. How come no one's told me 5 white heifer? How come no one's told me about? I did not know about the 5 red heifers. Does anybody know about the 5 red heifers? Anybody out there watching know anything about the 5 red heifers? We gonna tackle this before I get off the stream. And we're gonna talk about Mr. BB Netanyahu. We're gonna have to get into it. Let's go ahead right now. All right.
We have an update on the red heifer. They have built.
I don't want to see your shit, dude. I want to see a good video on it. That's all I want.
Why is she looking at me? The eyelashes start red and then they become darker. As far as we know, the last red heifer who was valid for the mitzvah was 2,000 years ago when the Second Temple was standing. And maybe the ashes of the red heifer were used for a short time after the destruction of the Second Temple. But since then, the Jewish people have been dispersed all over the world, and they have been lacking their spiritual center. There is a tradition that the 10th cow will be brought by the Messiah. And, well, we're not claiming that.
So y'all remember out there, y'all remember the rumors, y'all remember the, and it still happens, but y'all remember there's been videos out there of cow mutilations, like for a long times. Cows have always been closely associated with like UFOs and abduction stories, I should say. And kind of in that realm, there's been stories, and I think they've debunked them, but there's been stories of like cow mutilations to where a farmer would go outside or whatever, and then he would find his cows and stuff, and they would be killed. They would be dead, but there would be no sign of mutilation. There'd be no sign of mutilation, but all their organs and stuff would just be completely gone. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because it's funny that in UFO lore, there's some religious aspects in UFO lore, in some people's opinion. And then in biblical, it looks like in religious texts, there seems to be an association with these, cows, right? So is it possible? This man here is saying that the Messiah should usher in, or the ushering in of the Messiah. Obviously, we're talking about the representation of the 5 red heifers, and also the return of the Messiah. He's saying that there will be a 10th one. So it's really, really weird to see that. What's up with these cows, and the Messiah? What's up with
the
that?
Messiah, that this is the Messiah, or we're not claiming that this is the Messiah, or the Messiah is here. We really don't have ways of giving answers to those kind of questions.
Yeah, just hold them down there for a little bit.
Tom Miller and his family have worked this Colorado ranch for 2 generations. There isn't much Tom doesn't know about the rearing of cattle. Yet some very strange things have been happening to his animals.
There's so many things that I don't understand about it, and no one seems to be able to explain it either.
It first started back in 1999. Tom found one of his cows had died. On a cattle ranch, that's not unusual.
First, I thought it just died naturally, and then I got closer to it, and I could see it wasn't natural. The eyes were gone, the tongue was gone, the ears were gone, the sex organs were cut out. It's just kind of weird.
He notified the local sheriff, who came out to take a look. there was nothing he could do. The case was shelved, but it remains a disturbing mystery.
I guess one of the strangest things is the laser cuts. Why is there no blood? How come body parts aren't strung around?
In 62 years of farming, Tom had never seen anything like this. Predators don't normally leave a carcass intact and drink nearly 11 gallons, 40 liters of blood.
So I think I solved this thing is what I'm getting at. I think I solved the whole cow mutilization thing. It's clearly Bibi Netanyahu. It's clearly Bibi Netanyahu and the IDF.
And yet, farmers all over the world are reporting similar mutilations. Author and paranormal investigator Chris O'Brien.
All right. The point of that, I was just trying to, cite my source there and make sure I wasn't tripping. But I know I used to watch a whole bunch of that before, and I've always hear about that. I'm pretty sure they might have debunked that or figured out what was going on with that cow situation. I'm not sure what the answer was, but I just want to know what's going on with these cows and the Jewish prophecy. And I did not know that the 5 heifers.
Some Jews believe that they should act as the fulfillers of prophecy, that they themselves should build the temple, and when they build the temple, the Messiah comes. Other Jews believe that they should not build the temple, that they have to wait, and it is the Messiah who comes and he builds the temple. And that's why you see many videos where you'll find that there's Jews that are waving Palestinian flags or protesting along with the Palestinians because they believe that the Jews have committed a great error because they're waiting on the Messiah while these ones are going ahead of the Messiah. And they're
I should clarify that. Shout out to those people that practice the principles of the Torah in Judaism in its full effect. Shout out to you guys, beautiful people. There are beautiful, beautiful Jews out there, and it's a beautiful following religion. However, a lot of people mix up Zionism with Judaism, and there are Jews out there that seriously practice the principles of the Torah and the teachings of the Torah and stuff like that. And they get lumped in with Zionist movements. Zionism is a Zionist movement is a political movement which has undercut a religious following or a religious undertaking. Like we all kind of know some of the history in between Israel and Jerusalem and the Jews and the how they were dispersed among the globe and their return to Israel and kind of World War II and the whole situation there, right? We kind of understand that. However, there are Jews out there that do believe that this Zionist movement, in which it is, has usurped actual prophecy and actual scripture, right? In scripture and in prophecy, it is the Messiah that returns the Jews into the Holy Land, right? The Promised Land, I should say. It is the Messiah that is supposed to usher that. Now, in saying that, like I said, there's Jews out there that believe, like this guy is saying, that this Zionist movement has usurped that and fastened that prophecy, and they put it into play themselves. They have not waited and allotted the time for the Messiah to do his portion. Same with the temple being rebuilt, the third temple. There's also, I should say this too. There's also Satanists out there that work in cahoots with religious people to fasten prophecy, guys. There's Satanists out there that they everybody's waiting on the Messiah, like the first and 15. And there's some people that are just so impatient that they are doing some they're doing certain things. They're doing certain rituals. They're doing certain things out in public. They're doing certain things globally to usher in the Messiah, make it faster. So that's an aspect too. But like this person is saying here, there's plenty of people. There's plenty of beautiful people out there that think that some of the happening going on in Israel is outside of the prophecy of what was supposed to be happening.
They're trying to fulfill or relive prophecy in the Bible. Some Jews believe.
So yeah, that's essentially what I was saying with that. But I want you guys to know that these 5 heifers were flown to Israel already.
We all know that words have power.
Great.
They set things in motion.
And make us happy or sad.
Driving? Wow, I'm a fire engine. You're laughing. What are you laughing? I'm driving. You're laughing. Yeah, the same thing what they do with the red cow.
Orthodox Jews who are Zionists plan on sacrificing the cows at some point in the Temple Mount. I think that's the intentions. You know better, maybe, to hasten the coming of the Messiah. When you hear that, what's your thought on that?
I must explain you. I must tell you fastly. These people are not Jewish, are not Zionist. The Zionists are evil. They are murderers, but they are not crazy. These people are crazy people. This is not Zionist. The Zionists don't believe in God. They don't believe in the Torah. They don't believe in the red cow. Did you ever heard Bibi Netanyahu speaking about the red cow? He laughed on that. It's a joke. He don't believe in nothing. This is a joke. The Zionists are evil, but not crazy. Yes. Maybe it's what we...
I want to find the video that explains to y'all really, and I don't want to sit here and watch a 7-minute video. I just wish YouTube, or I should get on TikTok.
We have an update on the red heifer. They have built the altar on the Mount of Olives and hummus. One of the major reasons that they attacked Israel in October was because of the red heifers, because the Dome of the Rock.
Yeah, let me tell y'all, the red heifers was sent over to Israel literally shortly before the October 7th attack. Let's just clarify that.
It's on the Temple Mount right now. And by doing this sacrifice of the red heifers, it is an all-out threat of being like, we're going to get rid of the Dome of the Rock and rebuild the temple. The Muslims were just like, no way.
It's a whole different narrative.
What are the potential implications of this being enacted?
The Dome of the Rock is completely sacred to the Muslim faith.
Yep.
And if that's destroyed, you will not only have every Muslim nation, you'll have every Muslim in the world. Well, it'll be like the Battle of Armageddon, which talks about all the nations rising up against Israel. It's crazy that they literally have a sacrifice altar built. And they said it'll happen
recently built?
By the time this comes out, they could have already done it because they said it'll happen any day between now and Passover, which is in the end of April. So I say all that just to be like, yo, just be ready for anything. We have an update.
Yeah, so this brother here illustrated it really beautifully and quick, thank God. But yeah, that's really what's going on there. So I want people to kind of be aware of the significance of this. It's not only that Israel is right now in a war against Hamas or the Palestinians or Iran and stuff like that. Not only that, but these 5 heifers have been flown over to Israel as of 2022. And again, like I mentioned earlier, this is not happenstance. This is not just coincidental that these things are happening all at the same time. They obviously mean something, and they should illustrate to people out there that we are sleepwalking into this destiny. Whether you believe it or not, and that's the thing that people got to come to grips with. There's a lot of people out there that, fight and disagree and they don't want to be held to the shackles of religion, and more power to those people out there. That is not a bad belief. I stand with you in that belief. However, you guys got to realize that the foundation that has been laid and the foundation that you and I walk on, our existence in this 2,000 year period that we exist in, is based off of religious understanding, religious movements, religious texts, religious science, religious knowledge, the Vatican, all of these different things. A lot of your existence is based off of that understanding. So to just, kind of turn it off and say, I don't care, I don't believe in that stuff, is pretty irresponsible, because whether you believe it or not ain't the fucking point. Nobody gives a fuck what you believe. Nobody cares, okay? These people in power, they don't care what you believe. They don't give a damn, okay? The point of the matter is they're making moves to that actually do permeate down into your day-to-day life, and they're making steps towards things that will affect you in your day-to-day life, whether you believe into the Bible or Christianity or Islam or Judaism or Buddhist and the Bhagavad Gita and all this different shit. That don't matter. None of that matters. Gandhi, none of that matters. I mean, I'm not saying it don't matter. I'm saying that don't be the point. The point is the people in power do. Okay. So if they do, they are working out. Sometimes they're working out prophecy scriptures. They're working out stuff that they believe is supposed to happen. And that's how a lot of cults are born too. A lot of cults. I mean, I wouldn't even say a lot. All cults really stem from the idea of working among this premise that they have been summoned, or they're supposed to do this. It's a destiny thing, or they've talked to God, or they've talked to something that urges them to do this thing. That's the basis of occultism. And you have to understand that this world is run on those premises. Our society, our functions, our governmental bodies, everything that stems down to it is based off of those things. So it's pretty relevant to be up to speed. Well, I was always taught this thing, and I think it's one of the cheat codes to life, that you have to know the time and what must be done. But more importantly, you just have to know the time. A lot of our issue is that we don't understand where we are in the timeline of history. A lot of people don't know history. A lot of people don't care to know history. They just want to live out their portion, their 70, 80 years here on the earth, and they want to enjoy themselves, which is beautiful, which is cool. I think there's beauty and bliss, right? But in the grand scope of things, whether you're religious or not, it's important to understand human evolution and understand where we are at as a species, but where we are societal too. We got to understand our mission and the importance in what we must do as a people right now for this generation. And in being able to do that, you have to understand where you are in the timeline of things. If you don't understand that in this 2,000 year period, if you don't understand where you are in that range, scripturally, spiritually, universally, Dianetically, if you don't know bloodlines and stuff like that, you're totally lost on the story that we've all been playing out for the last 2,000 years. You see what I'm saying? This is all a play. The world is a play, and there's pawns in plays. I mean, there's people that are playing in a play and they don't know they're playing in a play. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about whether you believe in this or not. You don't got to hear it from me. You don't got to believe a word I'm saying. You got to believe a word anybody's saying. The point of the matter is, like I said, the people that are in control of certain things do. And that's when you're pulling back the curtain and seeing the machine and seeing how things operate. And when you understand that, you'll understand the importance of understanding where you are in time. Okay. That's my point. So Really interesting to see that the 5 heifers have been flown over to Israel as of, I think it was September or early October. I think it was September of 2022, literally weeks or a month before the October 7th attack. Now, those heifers, like I mentioned earlier, are meant to usher in the Messiah in Israel at the Temple Mount. They're perfect, purified heifers that have not been touched. They've been groomed and they've been feted and everything perfect. So those are supposed to be pure, sacrificial, and they're going to be, turned into ash and all this. It's going to be a ceremonious thing. That's what they represent, at least. So it's again, understanding where you're at, really, 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 really interesting. Also understanding the importance of the third temple being built. Let's see if I can find a video. Third temple. I hate coming up upon shorts. All right, let me share my screen. And don't nobody got nothing to say today? God damn, y'all gonna leave me out here like this?
Thank you all. And of course, I want to especially welcome Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. Your presence here today is a testament to the importance of this occasion, not only for the Trump administration, but in a very personal way, for you. For you, each of you, for the pursuit of peace, and for President Trump himself. Thank you. Dear friends, what a glorious day. Remember this moment. This is history. President Trump, by recognizing history, you have made history. So for me, this spot
he ain't talking about nothing. I mean, he is, but he ain't getting to it fast enough. You know what I'm saying? Essentially, this motherfucker wants to play a role in getting the third temple built. Essentially, okay? And they also believe that Trump is going to help with that process. We all know that Trump's irresponsible comments a few months ago regarding turning the Gaza Strip into the Riviera of the Middle East and having a Trump casino and all these things there. It's really irresponsible when you kind of know the history of the Middle East or that particular land there, the Gaza Strip and Jerusalem and the Temple Mounts and all that stuff. Is really, really, really disrespectful comment to make. But it also highlights the fact that, everybody wonders why, we just refuse to not side with Israel and we're ironclad on siding with Israel. Well, the importance in that is understanding that in our view, I'm speaking on America's behalf, we think that we are being blessed by protecting Israel, okay, as the good book states. We think that God's favor is upon us for always protecting Israel. That's why a lot of people help to protect Israel. It's like the jewel of the world, right? And so from our vantage point, and I mean America's vantage point, we, in our brain, in our eyes, we're doing the right thing, right? And they think that it's prophecy, which it is, for this third temple to be built. So Trump and this administration, along with Bibi Netanyahu, their ultimate goal is Eretz Israel. It is to annex that area. That is their ultimate goal. We've talked about it on this stream. I don't gotta hide my tongue here. Their ultimate goal is to annex that area, expand that area, and get closer and closer to be able to get to that. Let me see. To get to that third temple and to be able to build it. Here is the guy who is no longer, I don't think he's alive no more, but this is Bibi Netanyahu a long time ago.
This rabbi, he told Netanyahu that Netanyahu will be leading Israel when the Mashiach arrives. Right?
Wow.
So, yeah, in the early 90s or something, where he's speaking to Netanyahu and he's saying, that's the other thing, is that most Jews believe that the coming of the Messiah must take place before the year 6000 after creation. He has to come and accomplish everything before the year 6000. The year now, by the way, is 5784 after creation. The final hours of the sixth day, that's how the rabbis put it. This rabbi, he told Netanyahu.
So, yeah, that's another example of somebody put devil horns on him. I really wish I could find a small video. Here it is. We give our tax dollars.
אבל יש עוד כמה שעות, אבל יש להשתדל גם היום, בבשורות טובות. זה שמחה וטוב לראות. כדי שחסידים מקפידים שכל ימנו ימי שמחה. בשורות טובות, הצלחה.
So it looks like, guys, that Netanyahu has big expectations and big shoes to fill and a big role to play in this. So we got to keep that in mind. We got to keep in mind his history, who he represents, or what his people think he represents. This rabbi thinks that it is Mr. Netanyahu's job to usher in this Messiah. You heard the video earlier of the gentleman speaking about the 6,000 year period. I would love to discuss that one day, the 6,000 year rule of Satan, and that Messiah is met, or the Mahdi, or the Mashiach is meant to break up that rule. It's meant to break up that 6,000 year rule. And it's just interesting, the timing of all this. Not to be lost is that it's April 2025, and it's another spring, and there is another propaganda campaign out there with Iran and its nuclear attack. Okay. They've been saying Iran has okay, look who's live now. Let's see.
To do ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance investments in Africa. $25 million to promote biodiversity conservation and licit livelihoods by developing socially responsible behavior in Colombia. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion.
He's talking about Doge's findings, all this shit, you know, that we've used in different nations and stuff. And this is where all your spending goes.
Of behavior changes in Uganda. 40 million's a lot of newspaper ads in Uganda. $70 million for research of evidence-based solutions for development challenges. $10 million for Mozambique medical male circumcision. What is that? What does that mean? $2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia. $14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. $486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive, participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. What do we need to spend $21 million for voter turnout in India? Wow, $21 million. I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Wow, we ought to tell.
Yeah, that's. I want to try to find some coverage on the Trump and Iran situation. We've been in negotiation talks with Iran, allegedly. You know, we're willing to, or we might leverage some sanctions that we've had on Iran for a long time, tanking their economy, in order for them to relinquish any chance of having a nuke. So that's what this fight has been about for a long time. We don't want Iran to have nuclear codes, which is in Israel's law and in the creation of Israel. It's in their written law that they are not to have nations surrounding them that have access to nuclear codes or nuclear weapons. Obviously, because that could signify the destruction of Israel, which obviously is not in Israel's best interest to have countries surrounding them with nukes. So why have we been in the Middle East for all these years? That is why we've been in the Middle East for all these years. We've been placing sanctions on them, embargoes on them. We've been stealing their minerals and goods and material and just sucking the life out of that region. So that way that pretty old Israel can be protected this whole time, and is to not be touched. So that's why we've sent your sons and daughters and aunties and uncles over in the Middle East for all these decades. So that way we can help assist Israel with their ultimate goal and their aim. I really want to find... See if I can find it.
And to live happily without death. And I'd like to see that. That's my first option. If there's a second option, I think it would be very bad for Iran. And I think Iran is wanting to talk. I hope they're wanting to talk. It's going to be very good for them if they do.
Because Israel playing a huge role, and they've already shown how much damage they can do to Iran. Next round of talks between the U.S. and Iran are tomorrow in Rome. As President Trump says, he is in no rush to attack the country. He wants to first see if they can make some goals when it comes to peace talks. So here are the stakes. What can they say they share their interests? Both want to avoid war, I guess. No regime change. We don't want to change regimes. They're not looking to overthrow the Ayatollah unless the people rise up and do that. Possible economic cooperation. I don't see that happening, but who knows? Preference for diplomacy. On the other side of cooperation is additional sanctions and going after third-party sanctions like China, who buys 90% of Iran's oil. These are some of the nuclear sites. This is the one experts say is where they really got to focus on, and it might be the hardest of hard targets. How close is Iran to getting a nuclear weapon? They need 7 days to get one. Look what they...
And that's where I want to stop it. They've been saying this for decades. I mean, in the early 2000s, it was there a few months away or a few years away. And in the mid 2000s, they're a few months away. Then just last year, they're a few days away from a nuclear weapon. They got this uranium. They got this enriched uranium. They got these materials. They got these sites that can bolster the nuclear facilities. I'm sorry. Yeah, they got nuclear facilities and all these different things. Now, Iran has played into this. Me and one of my buddies talk about this all the time. So we laugh at if I go to Iran's official X page, they have flirted with the idea of them actually having nukes. And it's really funny when they do it. It's sometimes I can't believe it. I'm like, what in the world is going on? How in the hell is an Iranian page posting like fucking hold on, what is this here? Sorry, I get distracted so easy. Not really, but okay, when did BB say this?
אני רוצה להגיד לכם גם כמה מילים על איראן. אני מחויב למנוע מאיראן נשק גרעיני. אני לא מוותר על זה, אני לא מרפה מזה, ואני לא נסוג מזה. לא מילימטר. אני רוצה להגיד לכם גם כמה מילים על...
So that's Mr. Bibi Netanyahu. He ain't finna play. You know what I'm saying? He ain't finna play. These two motherfuckers are gonna have to get to negotiating. Trump is a busy man right now. I ain't gonna lie. Trump's gonna have to be a really, 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 really busy man. He is apparently negotiating a nuclear war, potential nuclear war between the United States and Israel and Iran, along with the proxies. And then he's also dealing with the Doge government spending issue in the States. He's also fighting, he's still fighting some domestic situations, some civil situations within the States. And then he's also fighting the trade war that's going on right now. So that man has a lot of hands tied behind his back. We'll see how this really transpires. I don't see how he is able to pull off a multitude of these things between a trade war and then actual nuclear escalation. And I mean, not to even mention that there's another war going on with Russia and Ukraine that he is also negotiating with Putin and Zelensky right now at the same time. So very, very seems to be a very, 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 very busy man with a lot of hands tied up. That's really all I got for today. I'll hop back on stream soon, probably on Tuesday. I plan on streaming. I just wanted to hop on here briefly during the Knicks and Pistons games because I didn't care to really watch that game. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I appreciate anybody for tuning in. You already know the deal. Please like and subscribe to the page. Share it as well. Comment, leave comments. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're going to do this early and often. But yeah, this is your host here, Lord of Lips, and I am signing out. Peace.